Hello everyone, and happy Halloween. I hope you're having a very spooky day today, and I'm honored that part of your celebration is watching this video. Today we're talking about a recent, relatively unknown ARG that I'm quite excited for. It deals with religious ideologies, both heavenly and damned, with an extreme amount of attention to detail. This is a long one, so let's get right to it. So we have a YouTube channel, a Reddit account, and we have a Twitter account. 2 Twitters, actually. All of the channel's content was uploaded 4 months ago, but the primary Twitter account was last active on September 2nd, 2019. First, let's look at the YouTube channel, Joy. The first video is entitled, Alastair Isle, The Tragedy of 82. It has 60 views at the time of writing and was uploaded on June 4th, 2019, and is about 17 minutes long. It has no narration or dialogue, but rather a series of captions detailing a mission trip turned massacre. It's a lot to explain, but any of the details present in this video could be necessary to understand the ARG as a whole later on, so I'll do my best to summarize it while showing you cool pictures of islands. The video describes an island, Alastair Isle, off the coast of India. It was part of a chain of islands called Cameron Isles that was completely untouched by any industrial revolution because it was protected by the Indian government. They lived primitively without any interaction from the outside world, and without any of the technological advancements the rest of the world had achieved. Cameron Island itself was the largest of the chain, and was well known to be inhabited. Alastair Isle, being much smaller, was overlooked. In 1980, an aerial survey was conducted that showed Alastair Isle to be covered in a thick forest with dozens of unexplored ruins and megaliths. Thanks to this, people had planned to go there and explore Alastair Isle, but a tragic event ensured no one would venture to Alastair Isle again. And I quote, "The most famous exploration of Alastair, and the last to date, was never planned to take place there." In 1982, 6 members of the Christian Pentecostal order called His Name, based in California, planned an illegal mission trip to Cameron Isle with the intent to document the experience on film. The film crew was Jerry Jack J.J. Pack, a 46-year-old sailboat owner with U.S. Navy experience, Mary Mills, a 30-year-old cinematographer, Will Jackson, 22, Mary's nephew and recent college graduate, Chris O'Brien, a 32-year-old who was familiar with working on a set, Jane Palmer, also 32, experienced missionary and friend of Mary. This trip was her idea. Eric Palmer, 34, Jane's husband and leader of the group. The crew sailed at night from the mainland of India but was swept up in a storm. They were thrown off course and wrecked into what they believed to be Cameron Isle, but unfortunately, that was not the case. They landed on October 19th and was unable to leave due to their damaged boat. Because of the storm, search and rescue was not able to get to them until the 21st. But when search and rescue arrived, Jane Palmer was the only survivor. No footage was able to be recovered, so they were only able to learn about the tragedy that had taken place from Jane's personal account. She said the first day was nothing special. After being there for several hours, Chris O'Brien explained his unease that the natives had not greeted them yet, and pointed out to several characteristics about the island that didn't match their studies on the Cameronese. They continued documenting what they had found anyway, including carvings of sexual acts. Mary Mills first brought forth the idea that they had not landed on Cameron, but she was dismissed. At night, they found a clearing and slept there. Eric Palmer returned from the boat after arguing with JJ, and JJ stayed at the boat. JJ's whereabouts after that are still unknown. Everyone woke up in the middle of the night surrounded by natives and were led through the forest. Will tried to make a run for the beach, but was caught by the natives and escorted to a different location, never to be seen again. The group was led into a clearing. All around them were more natives. The natives swarmed them, and the group spent the next 2 days imprisoned and tortured. At one point during their imprisonment, Eric Palmer was able to escape and assisted Jane in doing so as well. But when they were trying to make a run for it, they entered a chamber filled with children and pregnant women. Eric tried to steal a baby from one of the natives and use it as leverage to escape. He was then surrounded by the women and, in Jane's words, was torn up. She had never elaborated what that meant exactly and has never discussed her husband's murder since. Jane was dragged away and was then ritualistically beaten and sexually assaulted alongside Mary Mills. In Mary's attempts to fight back, she was thrown into a nettle bush. Every time she would crawl out, she was beaten and thrown back in. When she had finally stopped writhing, she was thrown into a coffin and locked in. After that, the rescue squad arrived and saved the lone survivor. Upon returning home, Jane's mental health deteriorated. She experienced night terrors, lost the ability to focus, and had delusional fantasies of returning to Alaster Isle. She abandoned her position in the His Name Order. On January 5, 1986, Jane Palmer was found dead in a forest due to self-inflicted wounds with a sharpened branch. The video proceeds to explain that the island has had no more successful visitors. Some are caught and detained before making it there by the government of India, or they do not make it back, as in instances in 1991, 2003, and 2017. Well, that was a lot. And call me gullible, but I totally believe this to be a real thing. I think I got it confused with that one case of the Christian missionary guy who was murdered by some tribe, but when I googled this, I was actually kind of surprised it wasn't true. What further confused me is that in the description of the video, it lists sources from well-known publications and a couple Wikipedia pages and 2 books. But the Wikipedia page says nothing about Alaster Isle. The articles lead to either a dead link or a page about unknown tribes that doesn't mention the Alasterese, and one of the books doesn't even exist. Or at least I searched high and low and could not find it. The only thing that actually existed was the book The Tribes of India, The Struggle for Survival. However, neither Alaster Isle nor the Alasterese were listed under the key terms, so I think it's safe to conclude this story and Alaster Isle is entirely fiction, much to my dismay. Additionally, I couldn't find anything about his order or any of these people, including Jane Palmer. Having confirmed that it is fiction, however, I'm impressed by the quality of this fictional documentary, and if we can expect this caliber of storytelling and attention to detail for the rest of this ARG, then I think we're in for a good time. Moving on to the next video, with a doozy of a title. A Reddit user pointed out the title is an acronym for the poem, "Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light," by Dylan Thomas. However, the title skips the second line of that poem. The video was uploaded on June 4th, 2019 and has 83 views at the time of writing. This video is also a kind of documentary, talking about the fictional planet Kamalma and the beings that live on it, the Kamalman. It says the Kamalmans have leathery skin and elongated bodies, that they're usually 10 centimeters long and they move around sort of like an inchworm. They're perfect for their environment and therefore have no need to mutate or evolve. However, the most interesting line in the video says, "Beyond the star Kamalma system, space extends into infinity in all directions, reaching into empty darkness. Kamalma is the only world in all existence. Kamalma has orbited the star at a constant speed and distance for eternity. Kamalma will continue to orbit the star, simply and predictably, over and over. This will go on forever." What? So the only real-life thing I could find relating to this is that Kamalma is also the name of an Aztec goddess. There's nothing in the description box to explain or give context to this video, but there will be more on this later. The next video, entitled The News, is more of the same text-on-screen storytelling, except this time it isn't in documentary formatting. It reads like a screenplay. It was uploaded on June 5th, 2019, is nearly 2 minutes long, and has 37 views at the time of writing. Daniel Ryan, 35, a man and black-looking character with a smooth demeanor, walks up to a suburban house with a briefcase in hand. He knocks at the door and is greeted by Marie, 30. Daniel introduces himself and says he is from the archive. He opens the briefcase and rummages through papers for a few moments before stating that he has questions for her for the archive. He interrogates her about her son and a trip that he had went on. She says he went with 2 friends and a girlfriend, that he left a week ago and was returning on the 15th. She proceeds to share that she received a text last night where her son claimed to be in Allistertown, but that she hadn't received correspondence since. Daniel proceeds to explain that her son is in fact dead. He says gunshots were heard in their hotel room, and as a result, all 4 of them were deceased. He added, as Marie sobbed, that there was a struggle involved and the hotel room was trashed. Suicide was ruled out, and the only explanation is that someone or a group of people entered the room and committed the crime. But none of them have been found. Marie falls into a fit on the floor, and Daniel moves to her but is strangely unbothered. She begins to jerk and move unnaturally, her head and arms twitching as though in a seizure. Daniel, still unfazed, begins to gather his belongings. Marie struggles to crawl into the hallway while Daniel is still asking her questions. Did her son owe anyone money? Was he involved in any illegal activities? But Marie is unable to respond. Daniel then inquires if Marie would like to donate her son's body to chemical research. Because, he explains cruelly, in actuality, they were all poisoned, and the gunshots didn't come until afterwards. He notes that the poison they endured would have effects similar to what she is currently experiencing. He laughs as she dies on the floor and proceeds to leave. Again, another beautiful and interesting story, but without any other ties to either of the previous videos. We learn vaguely about something called the archive, but no details as to what it is or why this man must interrogate her on her son's death. Also, why is he so okay with her violently dying in front of him? Is he trying to say that he, and by extension the archive, poisoned her son and his friends? Did he somehow poison Marie as well? And if so, why? What is going on, and why do any of these videos matter? Well, hang on. The next few tie some things together, so let's just keep going. The next video is called Dysphagus Noun. It was uploaded June 16th, 2019, is nearly 2 minutes long, and has 57 views at the time of writing. It opens with TV static and the faint silhouette of a head and shoulders, giving the creepy vibe that we're being watched. There's more text on the screen defining this word. Dysphagus definition: that feeling of joy preceding the empathy one feels towards an individual less happy, healthy, or otherwise better than oneself. The relieving discovery that, though the individual may be unhappy, unhealthy, or otherwise worse off, one is safe in happiness, healthiness, or an otherwise better state, precedes bittersweet vicarious trauma. The video then gives an example. If you are competing against someone and you win, you might feel sad for your opponent that they lost. But then you remember that you can be proud in your victory and go on being happy for yourself. Not much to say about this other than the fact that this word is entirely made up, so I couldn't Google how to pronounce it, and I'm sorry. However, if we're trying to find a connection to this video and the videos that we've seen just far, I think it's fair to say that the viewer has experienced dysphagus when watching the Alaster Isle video or the news video. The next video is called Time to Be Told 2009. It was uploaded on June 19th, 2019, is 2 minutes long, and has 58 views at the time of writing. The video has captions where the uploader speaks to the viewer for the first time, and this is a lot to unpack, so I'm just going to let you watch it really fast. I turned on the captions because otherwise it's really difficult to understand.
The casket fell open and shone out the light. The honey was bitter but sweet. The screams all died out when they tasted it right. The honey is all they need. You're reborn in shadow that follows the day. Your soul heaves and whimpers and teeths within jaws of sin. Every breath you will say, the honey is all I need. O Christ marks a new dawn. We rise from the lake, eternally joyful and free. O glory high Father, who calls your name, the honey is all we need.
Pretty wild, right? So this video is something the uploader grew up with and was part of their religion, apparently an intro video before a lecture on a particular topic. The video depicts people rising up out of a dystopian city until one guy grows tumors all over and dies. Everyone surrounds him, stabs a flag through his body with that weird cross on it, and dances while praising their High Father. In the description box, the uploader speaks to us more. I thought this might be interesting to some people. If you were curious, the introduction to the Time to Be Told class was played at the start for us back then, and I recall there were other clips. They weren't on this tape though, which is probably for the best. But at the beginning, we have a through line, something that connects this video and the news video, the mention of the archive. Additionally, we have an interesting comment 2 months ago from the channel itself, which is a copy and paste of a tweet, @BeastFighter98. Most don't even realize the EU is already occupied. We've had Time to Be Told here since 2009. They're just here to finish the job now. And here we have our primary Twitter account, Celsius07. The user talks about their cousin Tara, who lives in the Holy Republic of Dis, or the HRD. What is Dis, you might ask? Well, Celsius07 helps us out with that. His profile photo is an illustration by Stratinus of the city of Dis from Dante's Divine Comedy. The city of Dis contains the 6th through 9th levels of hell: heresy, violence, fraud, and treachery. Celsius has tweets saying that this HRD has occupied Europe. He says his cousin, who lives in the HRD, has allocated internet time presumably controlled by them, and that she has to have a VPN and a throwaway account just to speak to him. But according to him, Tara thinks this is normal. He shares a poster that he found that was being spread around Canada by the HRD, saying it looks like something out of Orwell. And then he tweets something incredibly shocking. He tweeted a screenshot of a conversation with Tara where she said, "Just heard about one of my neighbors. Her kid's been away for a few months and I think something happened to him. An agent came around yesterday to tell her. She went into shock, I think. He came out smiling." This is an interesting turn. The news video wasn't fiction. It was an actual retelling of what had happened to Tara's neighbor in the Holy Republic of Dis. Celsius07 proceeds to try to get Tara to leave the Holy Republic by taking a ship from Boston, England, where she's located, to Liverpool. Tara expresses concern because the ship is operated by Dockerists. He posts a screenshot of a Wikipedia page that explains Dockerism. Dockerists essentially enjoy the idea of an eternal hell. But what's most interesting about this screenshot are the mentions of Dockerists being specifically anti-HRD. And please tell me if I'm just an idiot here, but I researched just about every key term in this article and could find nothing. Specifically, nothing on Dockerists, Dockerism, Fred L. Docker, Ulto-Christianity, the Red Rite Ritual, Christ's Church of Arms, the Origin Party, or the New Rightists. And furthermore, I could not for the life of me find the specific article he screenshot. So we've discovered a common theme. This guy is so good at making things look and sound real, it is infuriating when I can't find answers to questions I have, but honestly, it just makes me that much more engaged with this story. If I could have found this article, then I could have found an explanation on what exactly HRD is, but no, that would have been too kind. However, alto is derived from the Latin word altes, which means to avenge or take vengeance. So I'm going to assume alto Christianity is a particularly vengeful brand of Christianity in the world of the ARG, and that HRD falls under that category. Moving on swiftly, we haven't yet heard whether Tara boarded that ship, or if she did, what happened after. But on September 2nd, he tweets, "Some people around here are a little more excited over the Europe HRD union than I am." Note the hashtag book burnings. His next tweet then says, "Like my banned book collection? Come at me." He displays an array of books including Dante's Divine Comedy, surprise surprise, some folk tales, stuff from Plato. And what do we have here? Do I spy one of my beloved keywords I have so desperately searched for? But when you read the whole of the exposed paragraph, it describes a planet extremely similar to Kamalma. Secondly, the description of a plain planet orbiting a plain star, surrounded by nothing both spatially and temporally, inhabited by mindless and static creatures whose bodies are foreign to the concept of any kind of mutation, is a suitable imagining of Alto Christianity's vision of the afterlife at its most basic. Yep, that's describing Kamalma, all right. So we have another strong link. Let's look at the next YouTube video on the Joy channel. It's titled SOS and is a 2-minute-long animation with text. It was uploaded June 21st, 2019. We hear the sound of a storm and see a lighthouse amidst a rocky sea. We then see a diary entry from the lightkeeper on March 3rd, 2012. He watches a boat come across the bay through the storm and documents it with a matter-of-fact annoyance that they're crossing in such bad weather. He watches a maelstrom form, and the boat struggle to avoid it, and ignores their flares for help. He takes a picture of the boat being sucked in, smiling to himself. He watches with glee as the boat swirls, and turns off the lighthouse light, saying, "Is this what God feels like?" He begins to pleasure himself to their screams, and takes pride in deciding their fate for them. Well, that was unsettling. The only other reference to a boat or a ship is the one Tara was supposed to have taken, but this diary entry is from 2012, and this video was uploaded before Celsus mentioned Tara's possible escape. So currently, it's likely unrelated. The next video is called Rory. It contains footage of someone, presumably Rory, walking through the countryside. The text that plays on the screen is his suicide note, directed to a person called Mia. It's pretty short as well, so I'll just have you watch it. can only presume that after the last message, Rory jumped to his death. It was difficult to make out the lady's voice that played over the loudspeaker, but fortunately I was able to write up a transcript. She said, "Attention, citizenry. The evening prayer shall begin. O Father most gracious, thank you for this day. We apologize it was not spent better. The gifts you bestow upon us in all your majesty are beyond true comprehension on this earth until we are recovered and meet you in heaven. We do not deserve this." So from this we can gather that Rory is in the Holy Republic of Dis, and is attempting to escape it through death. He subscribes to Dockerism, which was mentioned in the Wikipedia post shared by Celsius07. He also encourages Mia to participate in the rite, meaning the red rite specified in the wiki article that will allow Dockerists guaranteed damnation. And that is the last video we have from Joy. So what are we left with? At the moment, we're unable to directly tie anything from the Alaster Isle video to information we currently have. It is about missionaries from a Christian group, but nothing about HRD or Ulto Christianity is mentioned. We're also unable to make any connections to the SOS video. We'll have to set those aside for now and see if something relevant comes up in the future. Videos on the channel have been connected to tweets made months later, so there's still a possibility they will come together with the main plot. Next, we have these two opposing religious ideas, the Dockerists and the Holy Republic of Dis. The Dockerists were founded by Fred L. Docker, and they feel that hell is the goal for all humanity. They have a motto: pain is the end, not the means, meaning the suffering of damnation is guaranteed upon death, so long as you perform the red rites. They strictly oppose the HRD. The HRD is the Holy Republic of Dis, with Dis being a reference to some of the deepest levels of hell as depicted in the Divine Comedy. According to the prayer read aloud in the video, Rory, the HRD feel they must be saved or recovered from Earth. They feel the opposite of the Dockerists' motto. They must endure their hell on Earth, their temporary purgatory as specified in the Wikipedia screenshot, before being released to their goal, heaven. They are slowly taking over, as evidenced by their apparent union to Europe. But they limit people's freedoms like we see with Terra's internet usage and the book burnings. And Celsius hasn't mentioned her since suggesting that she make a dangerous escape plan with Dockerists. Has she been caught communicating with an outsider and punished? Did she try to leave and fail somehow? And where has Celsius07 been? It's not unusual for ARGs to have long-winded breaks. Everyman Hybrid uploaded only once or twice a year for a few years, in fact. So I wouldn't hasten to say this story has been abandoned by any means. And if we give this the love and appreciation it really deserves, maybe we can look forward to an update in the near future. So go subscribe to Joy, go follow the Twitter, and let me know in the comments what you think of this ARG. Bye!